And good evening, one and all, and welcome back to the Blue Rose Respite. Thank you so much for joining me tonight as we continue this tale of blood and shadow with Vampire the Masquerade, Coteries of New York. Thank you all so very much for joining me this evening. I hope you've all been having a fantastic weekend. But let us see who is in the chat this evening. Welcome back, the Metloid Man, Salva Holder, Dr. Creepin. How's it going? Good to see you. Samuel, Agent 187. Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me tonight. I cannot wait to get started, or continue this absolutely amazing game and see just how far we get, because I have a feeling our chances of survival are fairly good from how things have been going so far, but this is World of Darkness, so survival's never guaranteed. So let us rest and see what the next night holds for us. You open your eyes. It's pitch dark here, the blackness of a coffin drifting in the abyss. Oh, right, the light. You grasp for the switch, flip it. The familiar cramped room with a steel door and no windows comes into view. You emerge from the bedroom fully awake, just like yesterday. Oh, thank you so much, Samuel. I must say, when I've been having those nights where I'm like feeling a little bit tired or maybe my self-esteem isn't the best, I just put on like a really nice red lip and just like, yeah, I'm feeling a bit better. The Wolf Warrior, thank you so much for your 20-month resub. I really, really appreciate your continued support. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. You're amazing. Thank you. This time, however, Sophie is waiting for you, comfortably seated on the sofa in your living room space, the book in her hand, The Melancholy of Resistance, the title sure on brand. Good evening, Stephanie. I am going to be very polite to our new adoptive sire. Hi, Sophie. Good evening, Sophie. I hope you rested well. Tonight will be quite eventful, I think. Oh, thank you, Dr. Creepin. I really appreciate that. Come, we have an appointment. I received word Elysium would be called again tonight on account of your unruly friend from Corona Park. This should be a great opportunity for you to mingle. Oh, that's right. We got accosted by some thug in the park when we were trying to feed. I have a feeling he's either giving me Sabbat or Anarch energy, maybe more Anarch because this is Coteries of New York, so I have a feeling it's going to be dipping more into like Camarilla politics. So it wouldn't surprise me if he was an Anarch, and him being dragged in front of the Camarilla is going to cause a lot of heat. Gundameister, thank you so much for the 20-month resub. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for your amazing continued support. She keeps talking as you walk downstairs and get in the car. Gregory gives you a slight nod and a small smile while opening the door for Sophie. He starts the car when you take your seat in the back. Most of the Premojin Council is bound to be there, at least those who usually attend. Probably some other important personalities you do well to at least learn about. Ooh, are we going to meet new people? Don't be so cynical. This is important shit. As someone who has played a lot of Vampire the Masquerade, just like you pay attention and you know your fucking place if you're playing Camarilla. How should I carry myself? You never told me if there's any savior. That's probably French. Apologies if I mispronounce this. Savoir-vivre? Apologies. Kind of rules I should respect when talking to other vampires. Knowing that you're among your superiors is probably the most important. In our society, status comes with age. Pardon my sincerity, but you are insignificant. Well, thanks, Vampire Mum. Not even associating with me can make the fact that you've been a kindred for barely a few nights be forgotten. So know your place. Stay out of your superior's business and show the utmost respect. Whatever you want, Mama. Thanking the prince for sparing you, and maybe having a friendly chat with Kadir publicly might show your gratefulness for being a part of the Camarilla now. I would suggest you make it sincere. At any rate, you should behave yourself tonight. Remember that what I told you about reflecting on me as your patron. I have a reputation to uphold in the court. Do not tarnish it. There it is. She might have saved you. She might be protecting and teaching you, but it's clear what she's really concerned about. Her own interests. You step into the art hole. Still love that name. You step into the art hole with something of a bad memory. The last time you were here, your entire world had been turned upside down and your existence nearly ended. What? Kajira-sama, thank you so much for the gifted community sub. I really appreciate it. Thank you for giving the gifted sub to Agent 187. Thank you so much. Agent 187, since you now have a subscription, you can join my Discord. There are instructions or a link on how to do so on the About page. But thank you so much, Kajira-sama. And now we have a hype train going. So if you want to contribute and support my channel, now's the time to do so. Don't feel pressured in any way if you're not able to. I always prefer that you take care of your own finances first and foremost. But let's get this hype train going. The last time you were here, your entire world had been turned upside down, and your existence nearly ended. But tonight, there is very little outward hostility. Yes, Kadir gives you a look that's definitely intended to remind you of your place, but the prince, also in attendance, seems pleased to see you. Welcome, Sophie. Stephanie? Did I get that right? Good evening to both of you. I understand there is somebody else you wish to present to the court tonight. Yes, Prince. They will be joining us shortly. My assistant is retrieving them presently. This better be worth the prince's time, Langley. The prince gives Kadir a cold glance. Forgive the sheriff's harshness. He's in a particularly foul mood tonight. Something to do with Stephanie's baguetta eluding his grasp, I believe. Oh, he's been out hunting. Kadir's been out hunting for the guy who killed me. Yes, my darling, take revenge on me. Ouch, that must have hurt his ego, even if his only reply is a crooked smile. The mention of your sire makes you grit your teeth in anger. Asshole. Saddling you with a curse that cut you off from your career, cheated you of your ambitions, offering little in return so far. You remind yourself that defeatism will get you nowhere. Mindfulness, the here and now, this is an opportunity. You will make the most of it, if only despite everyone who doubts your true worth. The flaring up of whispers in the gallery hall breaks you out of your thoughts. Gregory enters the room, the jumpsuit-clad inert vampire still staked on his shoulder. The show is about to start. Also, because the character that we're playing is a Ventru, so I am very much playing into a character that is following the rules and trying to keep up with the politics as best they can. There's because when we were first starting this game last week, there was the different options, and I think if I chose a slightly different or one of the different clans, I might have been more antagonistic towards the Camarilla, but I'm just enjoying like just nodding, staying quiet, and just absorbing all of this because like I love World of Darkness so much. And yes, tonight, Gajira-sama, you are the conductor of this current hype train. We've only got just under 2 minutes to go on this hype train, so if you want to support me, now's the time to do so. Don't feel pressured though. Sophie's driver places his charge in the middle of the room and nods respectfully to Kadir. The sheriff approaches the vampire and removes the stake from his chest. The captive's eyes flicker to life, and he starts looking around in disbelief. Like a cornered animal, he backs out on all fours, keeps going in circles until he realizes he's trapped. Mike, thank you so much for the gifted sub to Rido. Guys, thank you so much. Mike for the incredibly generous gifted sub, and Zaba holder for the, how many bits? For the 1500 bits, guys. You're absolutely incredible tonight. Thank you so much. And Mike, how's it going? It's so good to see you. Feel free to sit, relax, and stay as long as you like. Kadir steps on the man's chest and pins him to the floor. Oh, is it going to be that kind of meeting? I mean, if I had known, I would have come a bit more prepared, but that's fine. I'm fine to watch. Why, who do we have here? Oh, fuck. Oh, shit. No, oh, no, come on. You're dead, mate. I'm sorry, but you're dead. Silence. The sheriff takes on an aura of utter dread. He appears as if he's a primal force of nature that's out to get you, and there's absolutely nothing you can do but shrivel in terror. The beast inside you shrieks, and you could swear it happens in unison with the instincts of some of the other guests here tonight. It's unlike anything you've experienced in his company during your turbulent first night as a vampire. He really did go easy on you, all things considered. It seems like it takes all of the hoodlum's willpower to not crawl into a fetal position and start crying. And yes, he is wearing Mike branded merch. We'll have some of that for well-earned rewards for last night's great narrations. Oh, thank you so much. Yes, I had my monthly live narration over on my Discord last night, and a wonderful number of you were able to attend. And thank you so much. I'm really glad that you enjoyed yourself. Wolf Warrior, when a vampire is staked in World of Darkness, they kind of become in a comatose-like state, while the stake is currently in their chest. Essentially, it's freezing them, and causing their body to, like, shut down and go to sleep. So that's why you're able to, like, stake a vampire, carry them somewhere, and then lock them up properly. No, please, don't hurt me, man, don't. You and me are going to have a little talk downstairs. At the prince's discretion. Please, go ahead, my sheriff. You heard the prince. Get up. Let's go. He doesn't wait for a confirmation. He just grabs the man and drags him, kicking and screaming, out of the room. Conversations start all around you. Some whispered, some quite overt. Sophie looks somewhat bored with the whole affair, her eyes wandering from art piece to art piece, clearly finding nothing to her particular liking. Oh, Kadir's more than capable. I'm not questioning that. So what happens now? It'll be at least some minutes before Kadir gets the information he seeks out of this thug. Why not mingle a little while we wait for him to break? Excuse me. Sophie leaves your side and goes to a corner of the gallery where a group of kindred, some seemingly pretty old-fashioned, gathered. A concierge offers you a drink. Still warm. It smells nice. Just a sip to start you off, a splash over your palate, coating your tongue and the inside of your cheeks. Nourishment. You're left to your own devices. You'll have a quick look around. The prince is currently talking to a dark-skinned woman that you recall seeing here a few nights ago. She has a cold but noble countenance to her. Their conversation seems to be casual. A loud, shrill laugh turns your attention to the bespectacled man you saw with Sophie on the night of your judgment. He's making the rounds, chatting up different patrons. You feel somebody's eyes on you. A casually dressed, plain-looking man stands alone near a column, watching you. He turns his gaze away sheepishly when he realizes you've noticed. Oh. She's recommended thanking the prince. And for me, if you're going to have a show of respect, because it doesn't seem, you don't know the harpy of this particular court, so you can't request to approach the prince, but as this seems to be in a more casual conversation, or casual for the Camarilla, we need to thank the prince for sparing us. You approach the prince, trying to stay as respectful of her private conversation as possible. She glances at you as you step forward, her scrutinizing gaze mimicked by her companion. Guys, thank you so much for this incredible level 2 hype train. It has just pulled into station. Thank you so much to the incredible bit drops and gifted subs. I really appreciate it. You're all absolutely amazing. She addresses the dark-skinned woman before turning to you. Excuse me for just a moment, Samira. Yes, Stephanie? What is it? I wanted to give you my thanks. I wish to thank you for sparing me, Prince. I realized it wasn't an easy decision to make, and I wanted to express my sincere appreciation. How thoughtful of you. Do we get a head pat for that from Sophie? She takes a long look at you before she continues. I didn't do it from the kindness of my unbeating heart. You're an asset to Miss Langley, to the Camarilla, and to me. I believe I made the right decision. Prove to me and the other kindred of this city that it was so, and there might be more to your future nights than just survival and servitude. The dark-skinned woman looks impatiently at you and catches the prince's attention. Forgive me, that's all the time I can spare right now. We have some things to discuss with Samira still. Enjoy your night, Stephanie. And the same to you, Prince Panhard. The prince nods and turns back to the other woman to continue their conversation. You notice Sophie mingling with other kindred, clearly in her element and not to be disturbed. Kadir hasn't come back yet, so you probably still find time for at least one conversation. Okay, that person is kind of... I'm going to wait for them to approach me to strike up a conversation. I want to talk to the person that Sophie was talking to the night before, because he seems interesting. The man notices your attention, but it takes a few minutes before he pauses his mingling for long enough to actually approach him. He looks at you quizzically. Thomas Aruto. Pardon? It's my name. I assumed you'd like to know. I know you. By name only, of course. Stephanie? Embraced just a few nights ago, huh? Well, well, well. How's Undeath treating you? I would say I'm coping. I can't say whether or not for sure I enjoy it yet, but I'm coping seems to be a nice middle answer. It takes some getting used to, for sure. Oh, it sure does, sure does. Good thing we have an eternity to make the best of it, right? He takes a moment to clean his glasses, completely ignoring you until he's done and puts them back on. I'm sorry, got a bit distracted. You know most of us don't need to wear these, right? I can see just fine without them, but it's a statement. The damn things keep catching specks of dust and other assorted shit, though. Never stay clean for long. Sometimes I think they're more trouble than they're worth, wouldn't you say? If they're a pain... I say if it's a pain to wear them and you don't need them, why do it? Like I said, it's a statement. Inconvenience is no excuse to stop pursuing perfection. What else is there, really? Alright. That was a nice chat, but I have to catch up with a few other fellows tonight. Talk to you later? Jeannie. Hey, Jeannie. He doesn't even give you a chance to say goodbye. He's already off, grabbing 2 glasses off a concierge's tray and handing one to a mustachioed man nearby. A loud exchange near the staircase grabs everyone's attention. Kadir is back and the hoodlum is with him. The sheriff pushes his unfortunate victim into the room. The vampire that threatened you last night is a mess. That stupid hat is still inexplicably on his head, covering some of his ruined face in welcome shadow. He's barely conscious. His shin is broken, you think. Something protruding there, making his pant leg bulge. One arm seems twisted at a strange angle. Very little blood, surprisingly, but clearly a whole lot of hurt. Well, Kadir, did our guest cooperate? Tell the prince your name. It's Howard. And who do you run with, Howard? The Midnighters. An Anarch Coterie, my prince. He's a fucking Anarch! Fucking called it. We're gonna get tangled up in some Anarch shit, I know it. Active for some time now, though from what this one told me, the name is about the only legacy the group has kept over the years. I see. Hey, Prince, I didn't mean it. I didn't know. I didn't... A loud crack makes some of the guests audibly gasp as Kadir's slap dislocates the man's jaw. Fucking hell! Oh my god, that's gotta fucking hurt. Like, could you imagine that popping sound as like it knocks itself out of the hinges in the jaw. Oh! Fucking hell. A spray of blood creates something like an abstract art piece on the floor. This one is guilty of threatening a member of the Camarilla and claiming a domain without the prince's approval. That alone would be enough to pass swift judgment, but he is also Anarch scum. My prince. There can only be one verdict. Final death. Do your duty, Sheriff. Unless, of course, someone would like to play at being a good Samaritan like our dear Miss Langley a few nights ago. The look the prince serves you and Sophie is a cruel jest. Sophie takes it gracefully, smiling and slipping her arm under yours in a strange public show of affection. Sorry, I just like imagine like you're just kind of standing there awkwardly and you just see like or feel Sophie's arm slip into yours as just an affirmation that like, yeah, and she's with me. Just yes, Mama. Nobody says anything. Yeah, they better fucking not. The vampire named Howard jumps to his feet and makes for the window. Oh, what do we think of Kadir? Bruja, Gangrel, or Assamite? Given that he's much more prone or has exhibited much more physical strengths, Bruja wouldn't surprise me, but Bruja tend to be associated more with the Anarchs. He could also be an Assamite, maybe even the Ministry. Although, like, given his, like, the way that he looks with his very intense, I think his eyes are like a goldy amber color. It wouldn't surprise me if he's a Gangrel, possibly, because Gangrel, while they are nowadays associated more with the Anarch faction, they have had, like, in and outs with the Camarilla in the past. Okay, I seem to be fully fed, so I'm gonna try to order Howard to stop. Please work. The moment you catch Howard's eye, ordering him comes to you almost instinctively. Stop. He stops and looks at you with one eye, the other swollen closed by Kadir's interrogation. A swift slash separates his head from his shoulders. The body slumps to the ground and starts decomposing in front of your eyes. The sheriff, sword in hand, gives you a nasty smile from behind where Howard used to stand. Well, Stephanie, your eagerness is laudable, if unnecessary. That Howard fellow couldn't have hoped to escape his fate, not facing Kadir's expertise. However, I have made note of this show of loyalty, on both you and your patron's accounts. Yay! We assisted with murder! I would like to thank Miss Langley for bringing this Anarch thug to my and Kadir's attention. I assume all have found the verdict satisfactory? It's a rhetorical question and everyone here knows it. Then I consider tonight's meeting concluded. Good night to all of you. She steps out of the room, and you see that many of the guests move to do the same. Sophie seems to be conversing with somebody, a serious-looking man in a trench coat, about what had transpired. You probably have the time to strike up a conversation of your own, too. Kadir al-Asmai is still here, for one, but clearly getting ready to leave. Arturo is still here, chatting with the remaining attendants. For a moment you think the man who was looking at you earlier left, but he's still here, keeping to himself in a secluded corner. We are also advised to thank Kadir for not chopping our fucking head off. Let's go talk to Kadir. The sheriff's mood seems to have improved, so you decide you won't get a better shot at saying your piece. He is just sheathing his sword as you approach him. He notices you just before his face turns from a melancholic frown back to his regular predatory smirk. You seem to have caught him in a moment of reflection. What is it, Stephanie? I wanted to thank you for bringing me here in one piece, for giving me a chance. An emotion creeps onto Kadir's face that you haven't seen the sheriff exhibit yet. Is that gratitude? It's fleeting, only there for a moment, gone in the blink of an eye. It was trying on my nerves, and you are still far and away from proving that it was the right thing to do, so don't think that a few kind words will let you off the hook. Still, I have to admit, I was as surprised as the prince when you jumped at the opportunity to stop that Anarch from escaping. I was sure Valerie would have beat you to it. If there's nothing else, I'll be taking my leave. Why are you so mean? That's just his disposition. Sophie seems to maybe be a sore topic to him. Actually, maybe this is an opportunity to learn more about her, so can't believe this game flew under my radar for so long. Honestly, like, try it out, and there's an expansion which is, I think, a DLC of sorts, and it opens up more clans that you can play as. I'm not 100% sure. But yes, do check this game out, it's awesome. I was wondering if you could tell me something about Sophie. She talks a lot about the Camarilla and other things, but I barely know anything about her. Oh, I can tell you something about Sophie. Some things she wouldn't want you to hear, like the fact she's manipulative and vindictive, but then again, which of us kindred aren't? You want to know more about Sophie's past? Ask her. She's unlikely to tell you the truth, though. I'm quite sure she never told me, despite our previous history. Were you two, like, together? Together? And, is there any chance that you guys might get back together again? That's what we do, fledgling. We exist for centuries and we lie. To our families, our friends, our lovers, to our kindred, size and child. To ourselves. He picks up the sword and turns towards the stairs. Good night. And watch yourself. You've messed up my batting average, so I'll be sure to keep a close eye on you. With that final threat, he leaves the gallery. You know what? That's kind of like the most intimate conversation we've ever had, like, so far. So I'm just saying, like, I'm calling this a win. Kimikun, thank you so much for the 32-month resub. It's been almost 3 years now of amazing support. Thank you so much for joining us tonight and for your amazing generosity. Well, I'm just saying, guys, you know, maybe if, I'm sure there's, like, some bad blood between the two of them, but, you know, maybe we can get this, like, conversation going again between the two of them, and meanwhile I'm getting, like, nice head pats from Sophie, and so then if, like, she and Kadir join back together, and then I just happen to be there, we're just gonna keep playing the game and pretend this conversation never happened. It's right about when Sophie also ends her conversation and walks over to you. Interesting evening, wasn't it? Come, Gregory's waiting downstairs. She seems preoccupied with something, and not in a talkative mood. It's an awkward ride back to the city. This time you arrive at another building, just 2 streets across from your apartment. She brings you upstairs, through a very nice lobby and a luxurious-looking hall, into her domain. Oh my god, are we in Sophie's apartment? I need to do my own thirst check. Give me a second. Whatever you want, Mama. Please, have a seat. I will be right with you. You take in your surroundings. The apartment is like a gallery, an old-school smoking room that you've seen in some period piece once, and a nouveau riche's living room meticulously combined together. Apologies, old habits die hard. Clearly some stick with you even after death. Oh, thank you for the stretch check, Samuel! Oh. Honestly, like, from looking at her flat, it's very similar to how, like, I would want my own apartment, like, to look if I had a much bigger place. She drags on her cigarette and breathes out. Breathes? How is she doing that? Can you do that? Oh yes, you might not know. It takes some practice, but you can keep smoking if you like. Other things too. Experiment. You might surprise yourself. And now she's encouraging us to experiment. I like this game. But I did not bring you here to show off. This is where I rest, these nights. This is where I rest these nights. That door in the back, the bedroom, similar to yours. I have servants and bodyguards in addition, of course. Greyman95, thank you so much for the follow. You are now one of my lovely lost tales, and you are welcome back at the Blue Rose Respite anytime. Take a seat, enjoy yourself. I'm sure the chat will make you feel more than welcome. I'm sorry if you've already seen this, but Steph's character seems like she's cold and stone-faced on the outside, but she's all giggly and giggly like a schoolgirl. Honestly, that's just me. Because I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of, like, when I would do LARPing and you'd actually have to do these scenes in person, and you would be playing as these super powerful characters, and, like, of course shit would go down and stuff like that. But, like, the inside, you'd just be, like, bubbling with joy and excitement, but you have to remain stoic and formal at all times and listen to the prince and do whatever they say. I brought you here because I need you to trust me. When I told you before that I needed your best behavior to uphold my good standing with the court, I meant it. But that's not the whole story. I have your interests in mind too. That's why I've given you your own haven. Why I'm trying to teach you how to navigate this new reality. But you need to trust me, or else this won't work. You can come here whenever you feel like asking me something. When you're in trouble too. Though I hope that won't happen often. I would ask you to come here when you wake up tomorrow. I'll have something to discuss with you. I want more head pats. Okay, I'll come over first thing tomorrow night. I appreciate that. That silence again. There is definitely something on Sophie's mind tonight, but she doesn't seem eager to share it with you just yet. I'm leaving for another visit. Come downstairs with me, we'll give you a lift. A quick trip, a promise that you'll show up tomorrow, and some polite goodbyes later. You open the door to your haven and gather your thoughts. It's exciting, in a way, being dragged deeper and deeper into this secret society and its rules. Whatever Sophie has planned for you, it's bound to teach you more about this thing you have become. You sink into your vampiric sleep with just a sliver of hope. It's a welcome change. Well, I'm calling that a victory. Like, we got some more brownie points with the Camarilla. So yeah, things are going great. The Anarchs are gonna fucking hate me, though. I cannot wait until I'm one day like a Twitch partner and I can have as many emotes as I want on my channel, because I want those like adorable headband emotes. But with my character, they're so cute. You have these past few nights in a windowless room. As you pry open the reinforced steel door, you look out the window to see, invariably, a sky bereft of sunlight. And then it hits you. The hunger. For a moment, you let yourself wonder if there will ever come a night when it's just not there. Given what you've learned thus far, you probably have as much chance of kickstarting your heart with jumper cables. You lock the door behind you and head over to Sophie's apartment. You did promise to call on her, might as well not keep the lady waiting. And hey, what else are you gonna do? Getting in touch with your boss? He's probably looking for you, if only to scold you for the unattended files piling up on your desk. But what's he gonna do? Call the cops? Oh, not worth the hassle. You're almost hoping a few co-workers that seem to give a shit about you were faking it. It would make things easier. A fresh start from the ground up, just like old times. Clansonator124A was watching the Reverend finishing up Resident Evil Village. I saw she was playing Vampire the Masquerade. First time I actually get to see her in person. Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Take a seat and enjoy yourself. It's wonderful to have new faces in chat. These thoughts put you in a weird mood. It's a strange sensation to walk the crowded streets, same as you have so many times before, but feeling not so disconnected. All these people, you're not one of them. Not anymore. You're a vampire, kindred, and you need to carve your own path in this strange new existence, one way or another. Appropriately enough, you arrive at Sophie's building just as that thought crosses your mind. honestly, Salva Holder, like, I get it. I absolutely get it. I imagine, from what I can remember, we had a similar thing in our own games where, unlike when you're playing a Vampire the Masquerade in a game where you can save and restart and stuff, it's an entirely different thing when you're LARPing it, because you have to be very careful about the words that come out of your mouth. And while, of course, there are safety protocols in place to make sure that everyone's having a good time and are still comfortable at the end of the night, it's that tension in the room, especially if you're in the middle of like a really serious plot, that's just like, the tension is so thick that like not even a hyped up gangrel can like cut their claws through it. Just so good. I really miss LARPing Vampire the Masquerade though. A quick word with the security guard and you're let into the elevator. Apparently Miss Langley is expecting you. Of course she is. You knock and wait patiently as the footsteps on the other side grow closer. Finally, the door opens and Gregory, Sophie's driver, invites you in. You find the lady herself standing by the window, silhouetted against the city's midnight glow. She stares out, motionless, like a marble statue. Oh, is everything okay? She seems upset. Is everything all right? She doesn't react immediately, but seems to snap out of some meditative state and looks at you with strangely bleary eyes. Yes, it is. How kind of you to ask. Tell me, when you look out at the city, when you see the lights, hear the hum, smell the rain on the pavement, what do you think about? You gaze out. The lights and rain, the relentless honking below, music blasting from a nearby window, echoing off of buildings. Someone should record an hour of this and throw it up on YouTube as an ambient piece. Other than that, though, it's business as usual. The sights, the sounds, the smells. You know them all too well. Sophie watches you. You can tell she's disappointed somehow, but she covers it up with a courteous smile. Well, not everyone can appreciate the intricacies that the world offers. In fact, some kindred, my clan, is somewhat notorious for finding innate meaning even in the mundane. You see, the blood that flows within me is that of Clan Toreador. I didn't expect anything less. There are 13 such bloodlines among us kindred, though that number has been contested in these past and these nights. It seems that nothing is certain anymore. The clans have gone by many epithets over the years, but the names used these nights have their roots in medieval times. The original Inquisition, if you can believe it. They use these to categorize us, describe our inherent differences. In time, we adopted them ourselves. Each clan has a uniqueness about it, inescapable, originating from an ancient progenitor, carried from sire to child. For the Toreador, the gift lies in a sensitivity of sorts. We are uniquely attuned to beauty and ugliness both. We can see either where most cannot. A blessing on most nights, occasionally a curse. The sheriff is of my clan as well. Oh! Kadir is a Toreador. Okay. Oh, so it makes sense that maybe like they've been lovers in the past, because also they are of the same clan, so clans tend to also stick together. And support each other on a different way than some coteries. But yeah, I was sure that he was like a gangrel or something. But I could be wrong. The sheriff is of my clan as well, although you'd be hard-pressed to see him as such. Poor Kadir. It breaks my heart to see him in this state. Still, there is a beauty to it as well. Nothing like a good fall from grace. Try as she might to act playful, you can tell she genuinely cares. She lets her gaze wander for a brief moment, but is quick to regain her countenance. And then there are the Ventru, known for their pride and a proclivity to rule over others. The prince represents that clan, as is quite common in our society around the globe. Where the Blue Bloods think themselves rulers, the Bruja like to see themselves as preeminent revolutionaries. They call for universal rebellion, while being slaves to their own temper. We don't discuss the rabble much anymore, not after they've largely broken off with Camarilla. To think they were philosophers once, long ago. I hope to tell you more about some of the other bloodlines tonight. Say I meet a vampire for the first time, how can I tell what their clan is? Usually you cannot, with a few exceptions perhaps. For some clans, the uniqueness I mentioned bleeds into their appearance or disposition, but even that can be misleading. Case in point, Kadir. Outside of a few very specific cases, knowing one's clan is less important than understanding who they are personally, what drives them, their wants and needs. Weaknesses too. Speaking of which, we come to the reason I wanted to speak to you tonight. It is customary in our society, especially among younger kindred, to organize into coteries. Sometimes these are called by the prince themselves, or mandated by a fledgling sire. In our case, you may treat it as more of a strong recommendation. I want you to seek our companions, not only because you need to learn more about our society, but also because it is useful. True friendship are rare among kindred, but having allies, even temporary ones, is something of a necessity these nights. We might be selfish creatures, but we are drawn to each other nonetheless. Any suggestions on where I should start looking? I was just about to get to that. She puts on a mysterious smile. I spent some of my precious time last night asking around, pondering potential kindred for you to meet. Came up with a short list of contacts. I hope you'll appreciate the gesture. Yes, please. Did she make a short list of people we could maybe be friends with? Because we're too scared by everyone? Forging a partnership with them might offer perspectives and viewpoints that I cannot provide, lenses through which to view our kind. They are all members of the Camarilla, of course. More or less. Okay, who are they? Alright then, let's hear it. Who's on the list? Eager to learn about them, I see. Good, I'm glad. So let us start with the Tremere. They're a powerful clan, disliked by many, but feared and respected by many more. They have been an important pillar of the Camarilla since the very beginning. They are blood sorcerers. Mommy Sophie is setting up playdates for us, and I love it! Thank you, Sophie. Blood sorcerers. You flash back to one of those nights when your ex would stay up late playing video games. Not a pleasant connotation. Sophie snickers. Oh, child, don't be caught on that with that look on your face when you meet a warlock in person. They really are adept at using vitae, their own as well as others, to unique and potent effects. I'll read through the dictionary definitions once we finish this scene with Sophie. Since they are quite rigid in their hierarchy, the kindred I had in mind for you might need some persuading. His name is Agathon. Nice name. From what I hear, he is quite the scholar, very ambitious, the child of a noted Tremere here in New York, Aisling Sturbridge. Spent enough time with Agathon and I'm sure you'll run into her sooner or later. This whole blood magic thing sounds intriguing. Oh yes, fascinating. It is also a well-kept secret of the Tremere. Don't expect them to share it right away. Some things have to be earned. Anyway, if you wish to contact the young Tremere, I hear you can usually find them in a new age bookstore out on Broadway. The Tremere have one of their workshops there. Gregory will give you the details. Now, this next recommendation comes with a bit of a caveat. As you recall me saying, most bloodlines have unique features that might not be obvious at first glance. Well, there is one clan whose members wear their curse on their sleeve. The Nosferatu. The way she said it, you're pretty sure it would mean something to you. Other than sounding foreign, it doesn't ring any bells. No wonder that they make their havens in sewers, abandoned buildings and such. Their appearance is hideous and obviously unnatural. Had they walked the streets like other kindred, the kind would have learned of our existence long ago. Did she just shudder? It's hard to tell with her usual complexion, but you could swear her skin suddenly took on an even more sickly colour. The one I have in mind isn't as big an eyesore as the worst of them, but he has no Adonis either. Still, he has some talents and connections that you might find useful. His name's D'Angelo, and he has an office, for lack of a better term, in the otherwise abandoned grain terminal in Red Hook, right next to one of those Swedish stores. The name escapes me. The one with the awful furniture. Let's not press into that. Let's just ask what connections he has. You mentioned this D'Angelo has useful connections? I was just getting to that. D'Angelo does hold odd jobs for Kadir, digging up dirt, locating kindred who would prefer to remain hidden, the kind of work the Nosferatu are best at. He's on a case right now, something to do with kind murders, I think. After your initial brush with our dear sheriff, I think it would be wise to show some goodwill towards his agenda. Assisting D'Angelo with his investigation might be just the thing. She takes a brief pause to look out the window again. Now come the two more exotic proposals. Exotic? As if the blood mage and the vampire detective were business as usual. You may have heard about the Gangrel before. They are a wild clan in touch with their beast in a way others might not dare to attempt. They mostly keep out of big cities, but there are exceptions. Nominally, they haven't been part of the Camarilla for over 2 decades, but the one kindred I would like you to meet has strong, shall we say, familial ties to the sect. Her name is Tamika. Her sire, Jezebel, was instrumental during the Battle of New York back in 1999, the very same battle that cemented the city as a Camarilla domain. Sadly, her achievements have gone largely unrecognized. Tamika and a number of her siblings still reside in the domain they were awarded after the battle, Prospect Park. Jezebel herself left the city some years ago, fed up with being underappreciated. I want to know more about this person we're going to be seeing. You seem to know a lot about her sire, but is there anything else you can tell me about Tamika? I asked around. Out of all of Jezebel's charter, Tamika is known to be the most rational and cool-headed, at least for a gangrel. That said, she's likely to have a unique way of appraising your worth. I cannot say how exactly, but you should be prepared for an interesting conversation at the very least. Then again, that could be said of almost every kindred in this city. There's that mysterious smile again. So you see, seeking out Tamika could prove quite educational, if nothing else. And who knows, perhaps you will find her temperament to be a welcome change of pace. But speaking of a change of pace, I have one last suggestion for you, though it's one I don't make lightly. The kindred who calls herself Hope. She's a Malkavian. I love Malkavians, fuck yes. She's a Malkavian. They are a uniquely cursed clan. For centuries we considered them mad, insane, unhinged, but for those of us who spend enough time with them, come to understand the truth. It is no sickness, but a unique perception of the world that has them appear to us as unstable, and that perception can prove to be very valuable. Having a Malkavian as your companion might be taxing on the nerves and a true test of patience at times, but the insight and intuition are unrivaled among kindred. As for Hope specifically, she is said to be a recluse, but I have it on good authority that she can be currently found in an internet cafe, I believe it's called, in Lower Manhattan. Gregory has the address. Where did you learn about her exactly? One of my colleagues told me about her. He considers her uniquely talented and trapped into the current fads among kind. Not something I'm personally interested in, as I'm sure you know by now. I take his word for it at any rate. Well, I believe that's all of them. I still have a few social calls to make tonight, so I'll leave you to it. Use tonight and tomorrow night to arrange some cordial visits of your own. I will send Gregory for you as soon as I have further need of your services. Oh, that reminds me. You will need a car. Join us downstairs, won't you? Am I going to get my own car? Is Vampire Mom gifting me a car? She smiles once more and turns to her driver. He helps her put on her coat and the three of you leave Sophie's apartment. Sophie points to one of the cars near the building as Gregory hands you the keys. It's a rather inconspicuous compact car. A decent-looking, if not luxurious, ride. Stay safe, Stephanie. This is your first night alone. Don't let it be your last. As they drive away, you find yourself with more freedom than you've had in the past few nights. A blessing or a burden? Time will tell. With a list of addresses in hand, you consider your next move. Okay, I'm kind of wanting to go talk to the Malkavian first, because I fucking love Malkavians. They're great. So, I'm thinking, let's go talk to Hope, the Malkavian. Then, let's go talk to Hope, and then the Nosferatu, then the Gangrel, and then the Tremere, I think. Searching for Hope. Sophie suggests you meet Hope, a reclusive member of the Malkavian clan. She's supposedly holed up in an internet cafe in Lower Manhattan. It's a kind of magic. Sophie's mentions of a vampire clan of blood sorcerers sparked your attention. One of them, Agathon, could potentially be your introduction to the bizarre powers of the Tremere. Gumshoe in the dark. A recent string of violent killings has the Red Hook district of Brooklyn on edge. Sophie mentioned that Kadir al-Azmai has a secret associate investigating the murders, a Nosferatu neonate by the name of D'Angelo. If you help him out, he might be persuaded to form a lasting partnership. Jezebel's child. Sophie mentioned a gangrel neonate by the name of Tamika, who's made herself a haven in Prospect Park. The Ferals aren't exactly a social bunch, even by kindred standards, but if you can keep her from clawing your eyes out just long enough, she might be persuaded to join you. Okay, we're definitely going to be speaking to Hope first, but I'm going to read the dictionary definitions that we got, because we have quite a few. The Premojin Council. The Premojin Council represents the interests of the local kindred and advises the prince on matters of law and rule. Traditionally, it consists of representatives from each of the most prominent clans or factions in the domain, naturally favouring those of the Camarilla, though outsiders are allowed to report any issues to the Premojin not of their own clan. Premojins are often elders, but despite the term, Premojin from Latin means the firstborn, there are no rules in place that this is how it must be. In fact, during the last few decades, more and more councils have seen drastic changes to their structure. The Anarch Movement, a vampire sect that opposes the tyranny of elders and has placed itself outside the secret society of the Camarilla. Coterie, a small group of kindred, united by the need for support and sometimes common interests. Childer, a vampire created through the embrace. The child is the progeny of their sire. The term is often used derogatorily, indicating inexperience. Plural is childer. Garrett, thank you so much for the raid. How's it going, guys? So glad you could join us tonight. Thank you so much. Take a seat and enjoy yourselves. We are just playing some Vampire the Masquerade tonight. Hello, just finished playing some Among Us. I hope you guys had a great time. And Falcon, thank you so much for the follow. You are now one of my lovely Lost Tales, and you are welcome back to the Blue Rose Respite anytime. Take a seat and enjoy yourself. Yes, Garrett, you go do that. Go eat. But thank you so much for the raid. I really appreciate it. Oh, thank you so much, Garrett. It's going really well. Everyone's having a good time, but you have an awesome night too. Clan. A bloodline of vampires who share common characteristics passed on through the blood from sire to child. There are 13 known clans, all of which were reputedly founded by members of the third generation. Clan Toreador. Many Toreador emerge from the ranks of accomplished artists, both new and faded. But not all artists need wield a brush. To the Toreador, art encompasses all forms of entertainment and stimulation. The Clan of the Rose courts the greatest actors, singers, writers, dancers, and even sex workers, if the degenerates believe such mortals will offer something new to their clan. Despite the custom of embracing only the best, the Toreador fixation on beauty and innocence has caused many a diva to make a fledgling in haste. Many a moonlit night, new clan members have emerged as shallow hedonists, one-hit wonders, or just a stunning body with nothing else to offer. Nicknames: divas, harlots, sensates, perverts, hedonists, and degenerates. I guess, like, Samuel, it depends on, like, the way in which child is being used in the conversation. Like, if you've got an Anarch, like, trying to size you up, calling you, like, a fucking child, then yeah, it's used derogatorily. But if, like, your sire is, like, petting you on the head, just like, you did so well tonight, my child, that's, like, this gives you, like, the warm little moths in your belly. Bloodline of Vampire's Heritage. See also Clan. Cool. Clan Ventrue. While many other clans claim positions of influence in mortal politics and business, no one can rival the Ventrue in the game of pure power and wealth. They have long been the leaders of the Camarilla, holding more positions of power than any other clan, and they are loath to give that up. The Ventrue believe in the strength of tradition and lineage. The embrace is one of their most important rituals, and the choice of child affects the way other members of the clan treat the sire. The Ventrue therefore aim to embrace overachievers, a politically or financially powerful kind, or those with a talent that sets them apart from the masses. They maintain that they are destined to rule all kindred, no matter what sacrifices involved. Their detractors call them little lords, borgias, and tyrants. Those who respect Ventrue for keeping the Camarilla together use terms like blue bloods, patricians, or warlords. Bruja. Clan Bruja have always embraced from ranks of those sympathetic to counterculture and revolution. They seek out allies who question normative ideas, and recognizing the fire of the oppressed, they gravitate towards the underdog. Common perception place punks, gang members, and maladjusted immigrants, rejected by the society that should protect them, and placard-carrying and Molotov-wielding rioters among the Bruja. While the above is sometimes true, the clan adheres to no single ideology, and their desire for dissent reaches as deep as the fraudster ripping off his own company, the lawyer representing the poor pro bono, the neo-Nazi claiming to be alt-right, and the basement dweller downloading thousands of movies illegally for redistribution on streaming sites. Fledgling embraced to fight and protest are commonly referred to as rebels, punks, or rabble. Now I'm picturing me calling Samuel good child. I can already see the emotes. Oh, like, I think Mimi's already got, like, her pet names set for the listener character. Like, I don't know, maybe because I've been waiting to use, like, the word kitten, and it felt like it just, like, with her southern drawl, southern accent, it felt like it just rolled off the tongue so nicely. Just saying ever so softly, good kitten. Like, but I love this game so much. I miss Vampire the Masquerade so much. It's so much fun to read all this lore. Clan Tremere. A hermetic mage in 8th century Romania, Tremere was the leader of a cabal of magic users rightfully feared for their obsession with knowledge and power. Unwilling to accept his own mortality, Tremere cast his eyes on the hallowed secrets of immortality. In his greed, the mage instigated the most terrifying magical experiments ever conducted, damning himself and his followers to a hell of their own making. Terrified, they died and woke again to an eternity of unlife and hunger, cut off from their craft. In a mockery of their former magical rituals, now only fresh blood allows the Tremere to cast their thaumaturgic spells to twist reality. The clan is still organized like an initiatory occult order, recently fractured into a number of competing houses, each claiming to be the rightful heir of Tremere's legacy. They see true power as knowing the ways of shaping the world, having access to the right blood and owning the rarest of ancient artifacts. They are usually referred to as warlocks, hermetics, or transgressors. Vitae, archaic term for the blood of a vampire. Nosferatu. The clan of the Hidden are known under many names: hives, lepers, sewer rats, carnines, scabs, or locks, but a few of them sound pleasant. For the Nosferatu, the embrace is a journey through abjection, as the blood of the horror gradually deforms the struggling tissues of the human body into grotesque abominations. Weeks of pain result in deformities similar to terrible birth defects, cancer growths, crippling injuries, and leper-like sores. Those who endure it find themselves as monstrous echoes of Munaru's silver screen vision, but perhaps pain and humiliation teaches compassion. The Nosferatu, as they jokingly call themselves, are the most humane of the kindred, wearing their curse on the outside rather than the inside. To blend in, some call on the blood to wear the borrowed faces of their victims or disappear from sight, while others rely on prosthetics and heavy makeup. Gangrel. Clan Gangrel are outcasts, wanderers, rogues, and hunters. They make havens in the poorest parts of the city and feel no shame for doing so. They claim few domains as their own, but defer to no prince. If a feral enters a city, the prince will either accept it or have to fight the feral to get them to back down. Gangrel will embrace from the ranks of survivors and fighters, leaders of prison crews and gangs, explorers, urban and otherwise, and any kind who sees the world as something to traverse instead of something to hide from. They care not for looks or title, but for accomplishment and reputation. They are commonly referred to as wolves, ferals, and outcasts, or in a more derogatory manner, as animals, strays, and savages. Malkavian. Psychologists would diagnose the children of Malkav with schizophrenia, depression, obsessive-compulsive disorder, or post-traumatic stress disorder, sometimes all at once. In reality, Clan of the Moon are all of these things and none. Like the wise madmen of poetry, their derangement stems from seeing too much of the world at once, from understanding too deeply and feeling emotions that are too strong to bear. They self-medicate with blood, but that is just a temporary solution. All Malkavians suffer mental illness following the embrace, sometimes accentuating an existing condition, other times adding a new dimension to their instability. As if their thoughts and actions were based on otherworldly logic, there seems to be no knowing what their condition will manifest destructively, or when it will offer important perspectives where such were previously lacking. They are referred to as oracles, jesters, and visionaries, or in a more insulting manner, as madmen, liabilities, and lunatics. I would love to do a Nosferatu playthrough one day. Oh, same. I've never played a Nosferatu character, but I would maybe want to try one as like a different from the characters I usually played, because I've played Gangrel and I've played Ventrue, and I dabbled a little bit in Malkavian as well, but I haven't yet played a Nosferatu yet, and they look like a lot of fun. But let us see if we can find hope, shall we? It's a quiet, moody internet cafe. Half of its space serves as a comfy coffee bar these days, but behind a glass wall it still has a space dedicated to rows of PCs. From the street, you can notice tired adults in casual clothes, typing away absent-mindedly, and some bored kids wasting the late evening hours on colourful online games. If Sophie's intel is to be believed, this is where Hope has set up her haven. One of the waiters is standing outside the building, gazing at the sky with a smartphone in one hand and a vape pen in the other. You approach the man and tell him, because yeah, if you just say, I'm looking for Hope, he's probably going to make a joke about it, but I was supposed to meet Hope here? If I told you I was supposed to meet Hope here, what would you say to me? I'd probably tell you I'm surprised. People are usually far more discreet about seeing her. The man slowly takes a drag of his e-cig, sizing you up and down in silence. After a long, awkward moment, he raises his voice again. Come, right this way. He heads back into the cafe and you follow his lead. When you make your way through the space with computers, no one averts their gaze from the spreadsheets, emails, Facebook profiles, or games of Fortnite. It's a common sight, one you wouldn't have paid much attention to a few weeks ago, but now it seems so unnervingly quaint. Why would they still be spending their time like this if they were immortal? The waiter unlocks an unassuming door at the end of the room and lets you inside. You two swiftly make your way through a labyrinth of sterile grey corridors, taking confusing twists and turns. Feels like you're travelling into a different world, crossing one invisible portal after another. Eventually you reach your destination. Your guide motions you to enter a dark room with a lone source of pale light, a computer screen in the distance beckoning you to come closer. Oh, I will say, I like her place. Like, it looks like an underground theatre, or maybe like an old bordello or something like that, with just like newspapers everywhere and masks and cool shit. Like, I really like the atmosphere of this setting already. As you do so, you hear the doors shutting behind your back and a short chuckle echoing behind it. Is this the place? Nothing else to do but sit on the chair in front of the computer. The monitor displays a modern chat application. A cursor is blinking in the user nickname entry field in the middle of the screen, obviously expecting you to input your handle. After brief consideration, you type in... I'll just put my name. Oh, Noah, it's all good. It's all good. You're not under any obligation to make it to all of my streams, but I'm so glad you're able to make it tonight. Hope you have a good time. Stephanie. Better play it straight and prove you have nothing to hide as a gesture of goodwill. After a few seconds, the chat window opens, and messages start appearing on the screen in quick succession. Hostage executioner. Oh, fuck. Fuck. Okay, I'm gonna wait for this to finish typing, and then I'm going to maybe try reading it from the start. Fuck. Okay, there we go. Give me a second. I'm just gonna read it. I won't read all the usernames. So I'll just read through the chat. Just to be clear, I don't have a wank rag. Lamau, oh for sure. No, for real. Lamau was meant for Jerry, of course. Not much longer. Yeah, Jerry is the chat MVP. I mean, I've admitted far worse things on here. God, I'm so horny. Not sure why I'd have to need to lie about this one. Oh my god, literally, who cares? You and me both, bozo. Wait, who is Stephanie? Stephanie? No idea. A new user. Wasn't here a second before. What in the hell? Was anyone informed? No announcement. How do I know it wasn't Jerry 2010? Stephanie, identify yourself within 2 minutes or get banned. Who the fuck let Stephanie in the chat? The chat goes silent, everyone seemingly waiting for you to say something before proceeding. This must be a close-knit group. Better say something before they kick you out. No? That seems a bit too direct. Who are you people? Just logged in here. Who are you guys? Who the fuck are you? This was meant to be a safe channel, investigating what went wrong. What happened? Did they get here? Stay calm, lol. Yeah, sure, that's our Jerry. Gonna DM it to anyone interested. Oh boy, you in trouble, Stephanie. Yeah, you're gonna regret, dumbass. It's the day you decided to spy on us. I'm gonna try and flex that presence a little. Because I can control my chat, right, guys? You know your fucking place. You've had enough of the trash-talking randoms. Time to teach some respect. This will be fine. Your blood fires up. Ancient power starts coursing through your veins. Fingers tapping the keyboard buttons on their own. You people better stay quiet if you know what's good for you. You have no idea who you're messing with. You will obey me. The chat goes silent once more, and then it explodes. No! Haha, what am I looking at here, lol? Oh, what shit. It's not... So I decided I log in earlier. You have no idea who you're messing with. Would be so pissed if I missed this. You know he means business. Ha 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 ha. Guess your powers don't work online. Go figure. You know your cheeks would turn blood red right now if they still could. Got the info. Nice. You want to die, asshole? You'll die. You'll die. Die, 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 die. Sentenced to death for a shitty name their mom gave to them. Tough shit. I'm literally on my way to kill you right now. Yeah, sorry to inform you, but you're about to die. Rest in peace, bitch. You're gonna get your throat slit right now. A split second after you read the message, you feel someone's arms tightening around your neck. A violent return to reality catches you off guard. The Medlord, man. Are you serious? They redeemed a Pick My Voice. Control the chat. Sounds like ooh ooh voice time. Okay, fine. I'll do it. 1 second. This is gonna be so bad because we're literally just about to have a violent altercation with a guy who's attacking us, but I'll try and do the uwu voice as best I can. I'm so sorry, guys. A jolt of panic rushes through your brain, paralyzing you momentarily. Uwu. Come to the wrong chat room, motherfucker. A ridiculous whisper rings out next to your ear, and the grip on your head gets even tighter. You start struggling, but even with your newfound supernatural strength, you're having trouble breaking out. Hang on, because I'm not used to doing an uwu voice. I need to make it higher pitched, don't I? I have to make it like really, really anime girl, don't I? Fuck. Okay, give me a second. You start struggling, but even with your newfound supernatural strength, you're having trouble breaking out. This isn't a normal human you're dealing with. Uwu. There we go. Last words. Sophie sent me here. Please don't die. I want Huggy Wuggies. Sophie sent me here. Langley. The hand holding your chin shifts its position slightly. Don't struggle, or I will break your windpipe or my phone, which would end even worse for you. Sound of a camera shutter and light flashing. Did they just take some selfies with you? Ooh. Alright, that's enough fun. I'm letting you go. We can have a talk. Don't do anything stupid, Miss Intruder. Pretty please? Ooh. The mysterious assailant loosens their grips on you and gently pushes you away. You'll quickly turn to take a good look at them. Let me just finish this. Oh. She's really pretty. I like her tattoos. It's a pale blonde woman in her 20s, giving you slightly judgmental looks while rapidly tapping away on her phone screen. First, you notice how her outrageous outfit, seemingly thrown together from random thrift store finds. Then, you take note of her tattoos, a sprawling tapestry of odd patterns and designs covering every visible part of her body. Ew. At first glance, it all seems aimless, but it has a consistent sense of style upon closer inspection. Her eyes focus on you for a second. Gave you a scare, huh? Sorry, that's what you get for entering a lady's haven without her permission. Ew. Like, I don't care what you guys think, like, Hope's hot as fuck, like, she's gorgeous to me. Like, maybe it's also because I really love Malkavians as well, but, like, those tattoos, the outfit, I'm giving her a ridiculous voice because I'm doing a redeem my voice at the moment, but she's pretty. The Lube87, thank you so much for the 100 bits, I really appreciate it. Woo. Thank you. And she's back on her phone. With a relatively small build, it's hard to believe you had trouble overpowering her physically. Ooh. And then again, nothing is compared to when it comes to the undead, and even compared to the vampires you've met so far, she comes off as an eccentric, curious presence. She shoots you another glance, noticing you're still cautious of her. Calm yourself, girl. I won't pull anything like this anymore. It was just
It feels stupid saying it out loud.
A vibe check. Sorry, did we just get like a vibe check over the chat to make sure that we were like cool enough to be in her Discord server? I love this game. And all the answers are the fucking same. I love it. A vibe check?
Yeah, I got a glimpse of your vibe on the internet and in a dangerous situation. I'd say I got a pretty good idea about who you really are. I'm Hope, by the way. If you're here, you probably heard of me, so I went ahead and skipped the pleasantries. Come to think of it, I might have skipped too many of those.
Oh, and that comes to the end of that. Pick my voice for the Medloid man. I really hope that I did it justice. I'm not used to doing that uwu voice for like a long period, so I really hope that you like it. Thank you so much. I know I have to like find a good voice for Hope's actual voice. Yeah, she definitely fits the description you were given by Sophie. I think maybe a voice that's kind of similar to that, because she's kind of got that alternative look to her, but not as uwu.
I still can't believe you got so mad online. You actually tried to use your powers on people talking trash about you from who knows where. Jesus. But you know, I kinda respect that dedication. It's amusing. Anyway, don't worry about the chat. It was all a game to us. No hard feelings, okay? I'll introduce you properly later.
On the monitor, the chatter continues normally. Your visitors like yesterday's news, no longer relevant to anything.
But look. If we're going to talk about you, you should have something to say too. What are you doing here?
About time she asked. Note to self, she really loves the sound of her own voice. We already told her that Sophie sent us. We're putting together a team.
I'm looking for people to join my coterie.
Coterie? Been there, done that, not interested. Unless... She takes a closer look at you. Her eyes go wide. Wait. Shit. Are you the new Langley plaything? Wait, are we officially Sophie's plaything? Chat, are we officially Sophie's plaything? Because, brain not work right now. But do you know if that... I'm fine being referred to as that. I'm just saying. Word seemed to be getting around fast.
Of course you are. It was obvious the second Langley got her hands on a new servant, she'd start building a network. Your missions tell me that could really come in handy when, but Langley, that's a risky game. This kind of ambition attracts too much attention. Piss off, but then again, fucking Kara.
She seems to be having a spirited argument with herself, only part of it is audible. Is it just you, or do her facial expressions and body language change a bit between one sentence and the other? Before you make certain it's not just your eyes playing tricks on you, she focuses half of her attention back on you. The other half, of course, is still obsessed with her smartphone.
Listen, I'm not saying I'm not interested in, cooperation, but before I make a decision, I need to make sure you sort of understand me and that I sort of understand you. And since I was planning to put on a show before you came here, I proposed a little game.
Hope absentmindedly spins her phone in her hand, considering how to put her thoughts into words. Then she approaches the switch on the wall and flicks it. Neon light flares up, illuminating the room. You take a look around. The room is certainly unique. It looks like a butcher's room, repurposed to be a living space. The modern computer in front of you starkly contrasts with the ominous industrial walls. At the back, there's an overwrought bed covered in velvet with meat hooks hanging above it. Oh, she's into some kooky shit. On top of the bed sheets, you notice what seem to be pieces of an elaborate S&M equipment. And a camera. Okay, just a heads up. I have not played this game before, so I'm unsure of how far things might go in this scene, but just going to say this as a quick content warning. Things might take in the direction of kink territory. If that's something you're uncomfortable with or don't want to watch. Of course, things aren't going to get sexually explicit, but they might get a little bit spicy. Feel free to step away for a few minutes, but this is World of Darkness, and it does dip into some heavier territory, and the fact that there's also meat hooks here, just proceed with caution and practice self-care is all I'm gonna say. Wait a minute. You want my help? Moderate my cam show. Tyrannus19, thank you so much for the follow. You are now one of my lovely lost tales, and you're welcome back at the Blue Rose Respite anytime. Take a seat and enjoy yourself. I'm sure the chat will make you feel more than welcome. Cam show? Your eyebrows twitch involuntarily. This is definitely not the kind of request you expected to hear tonight. She notices your confusion. Take it or leave it, buddy. You just became a kindred, but you want to become my partner in crime? Show me you can handle yourself while watching my back in my everyday environment. She's serious. The show starts in 10 minutes. If you think yourself better than this, better walk out the door right now. I won't hold a grudge. I've got better things to do. As if to prove it, she looks at something displayed on her phone and cracks a brief grin. Another reply typed down with absurd speed. Tap, 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 tap. 9 minutes. It's now or never. Show moderator, risk of violating the Masquerade, high, content warnings, oh yes. So, do you take the job? I mean, if we're just like moderating the chat and not actively participating in stuff that's happening in front of the camera, like, yeah, that's fine. You just keep an eye and make sure that everyone's behaving themselves and following Hope's rules, then why the hell not? Why the hell not? Hope brightens up, and her smile looks surprisingly sincere. Excellent. I promise you might find this interesting in more ways than one. Alright, give me a second. She spends a minute setting up the computer you used before and urges you to sit down. The explanation of the moderator's functionalities is simple. It boils down to ignoring anyone who doesn't disrupt the chat, banning anyone who does, and kicking anyone who's causing minor trouble. Taliesin99, thank you so much for the follow. You are now one of my lovely lost tales, and you are welcome at the Blue Rose Respite anytime. Take a seat and enjoy yourself. And yes, it is full stream within a stream we've got going right now. 5 minutes later, she's already online, sitting on her bed in a provocative pose. It is a sex show, isn't it? Her voice, previously hushed, rings out with full force. How are you doing tonight, hopefuls? You peek at the chat. We're not worthy, queen. Fucking angel. Hell yeah, time to fuck. You're tempted to try out the kick and ban prompts as soon as possible, but obviously you won't punish anyone for a little dirty talk. Thank you. Tonight's show is quite special. Please welcome our new moderator, Stephanie. Lamau. Ooh, who? Sorry for sentencing you to death earlier. At least the community here seems to be a bit more welcoming this time. Looks like this place is an established hazing ritual. Or maybe they in Hope came up with one specifically for you, who knows. You decide to stay silent. Eventually people stop riffing on you and focus entirely on the star of the show. Alright, let's start this one with a bang, shall we? It begins, Queen. Oh boy, she's gonna do it. So this is where the strip show starts? You raise your head, curious about what kind of performance she's going for. I will say, if there is explicit nudity shown, I might just quickly move my webcam over anything. I don't think it's going to get into that territory, but I'm not quite sure how far things are going to go with this, okay? First, she opens her mouth and reveals her retractable fangs in front of the camera. Right off the bat, the online audience is treated to a sight of her wholly human set of teeth turning into a monster's maw. The image is both revolting and fascinating. She raises her left wrist for everyone to see, and then
bites. The fangs immediately turn her arm into a horrifying, gory mess. It's unclear if she used them to slash or bite, but one thing is for sure. No ordinary human could cause such damage. Okay, so it's not being explicitly shown. If an ordinary human suffered such a wound, you expect a geyser of blood to appear too, but it doesn't. Hope's technically a corpse, so it's impossible. She flashes a monstrous smile and starts smearing Vitae all over her hand to maximize the impact of the violent image. Then she starts drinking it up. She makes it a point to make the sight as gruesome as possible, looking like a hyena feasting on a corpse. The contrast of her behavior with her look of an Instagram model is stunning. Once she's done, she reveals her wrist to the camera for the last time. She starts making theatrical gestures with her right hand as the wound begins to mend. Shortly after, the wound is gone. It's like a magician's trick. Her left hand looks like nothing bad ever happened to it. Yeah, isn't that a breach of the Masquerade to do like a show like that, showing your vampire capabilities in front of a live audience of like kind? Here's an appetizer. First blood to kick off the show. While you're wondering what the hell is going on, Hope catches a glimpse of your bewildered face and turns into your direction. How is that for an opening? Are you hurt? Not at all. See? She presents her wrist to you, now fully healed. You stare into her eyes, expecting answers, and she obliges. If you expected a strip show, yeah, sorry to disappoint. This is more like a live-stream digital art. The erotic subtext is there, of course. You peek at the chat, they're going wild. She did that for free? Ugh. I love to lick your wrist clean, my fallen angel. Nothing more arousing than a beautiful woman teetering on the edge of oblivion, a rose petal dancing in the eye of a violent hurricane. But eroticism is not the key here. It's vampirism. It's a new frontier, a living art installation. In the early 90s, the Japanese artists kept producing these videotapes with beautiful women committing gory harakiri. Those are an inspiration. She bares her fangs again with a devious grin. But I've no interest in order destruction or turning myself into a victim. This is a celebration of a body I love, not self-inflicted punishment. The audience came here to marvel at a beautiful vampire and her awe-inspiring powers. Mending wounds is just one of these powers. The people watching can pay to see more. I will say, like, I get where she's coming from. Because there's a lot of artists and models and photographers that I follow that do like horror art photography or like model in like cover themselves in blood and stuff like that. So yeah, I completely get where she's coming from, and I know it's not to everyone's taste, but there is an audience out there. And while I personally think that this might be a really big breach of the Masquerade, I get it. I get where Hope's coming from. Oh, and don't worry. The only thing the audience can see and hear are all the things I allow them to. We can talk freely. Just remember to moderate the chat, will you? High risk of violating the Masquerade. What a joke. She's blatantly breaching it in front of anonymous viewers. Still speechless, you turn your attention to the screen. Aga28, thank you so much for the follow. You are now one of my lovely lost tales, and you're welcome at the Blue Rose Respite anytime. Take a seat and enjoy yourself. I'm sure the chat will make you feel more than welcome. Pay for your next tattoo? Yeah, I'll pay for the next attraction. Just letting you know your base. Alright, I'm feeling extra generous today. Have you planned your next tattoo yet? I'll pay for the next attraction. Looking like a pink marshmallow covered in raspberry sauce. Letting you know you're based. I know. I will say kick, just because they seem to be a bit conflicted.
You give the guy a kick for spamming the chat. A few seconds later, Hope groans loudly. What the hell did you kick Masochist for? It's normal for people to show their excitement like this from time to time. Maybe he'll interpret it as his queen hurting him and be grateful, but stop messing up. Okay, fine. Oh well. A special message appears in the chat log, claiming somebody successfully sponsored the first goal of the show. Hope smiles and picks up a bag of blood from underneath the bed. It must have been retrieved from a blood bank. She showcases the label to the camera for everyone to see. Drink up. Hope pours all the contents of the bag into her throat. You have no doubt it's real blood, but wonder why the viewers would be so satisfied with something that's so easy to fake. Don't worry, it pays well enough. You don't even bother to tell her this is not what you're thinking about. Safe to assume she knows. So what do you know about the Kindred and the internet? Have they told you anything? While she is waiting for someone to sponsor her next vampiric feat, she decides to start a conversation. Is there vampire internet? If you find something that looks like vampire internet, stay away. See, some of us used to experiment with our own secure networks. We used to build our own information hubs, social networks, everything. She's still working the phone in one hand while looking for something under the bed with the other. On how many things can she concentrate at one time exactly? Then one day the NSA got in. Turns out elders never really got the hang of proper security practices. All the sigils they used to smear on their screens didn't exactly work as advertised. Then, of course, all the other three-legged intelligence agencies in the world got the intel. Then a lot of them decided bloodsuckers are the perfect new enemies for our post-9/11 times. The Second Inquisition came into being. Ever heard of it? We'll read about that later, but fuck the Second Inquisition. A lot of our kind died just because they were too present online. Right now, the remains of our old network serve as government honeypots, kept alive to attract fledglings and hunt them down. You post a certain keyword on Twitter or Facebook, you get tagged for investigation. You fit certain patterns, you get tagged for investigation. So there is a certain thrill in becoming an online presence without attracting attention from the authorities. She stretches on the bed. I hope you are still monitoring the chat. Of course not. You're not as good as dividing your attention as she is. You correct your mistake and check the recent messages. She's talking to someone, can't wait for the real thing to start. There's 2 months to set up rules, Call of Duty 1 and Drop Dead Hotness, and the second stream, the only woman I don't hate. Hope, more like my favorite. Yeah, I will say kick. Actually, no, banned. That kind of nickname only suggests trouble. You get rid of them permanently. Good job. She's keeping close tabs on you. Oh, Samuel, the Second Inquisition stuff, I believe, is something that's come around in the 5th edition, which is the most recent edition of Vampire the Masquerade. And that's kind of like with the new major international plot beats and stuff in as part of it. Anyway, yeah. When the Nosferatu admitted to Camarilla their network got compromised, the elders went batshit insane. Internet communications became strictly forbidden. There were executions. Oh, thank you for the hydrate check, Network Noah. Thank you. A lot of people who use social media to secretly contact their mortal families and lovers got offed. That goes without saying. But if you weren't careful, even the most innocent web usage could result in being punished with final death. Thanks to user Dicksteel, the next goal has just gotten successfully funded. Let's go, Vanishing Act. Dehumanize yourself and face the bloodshed. She raises her hand, 3 fingers up, 2 fingers up, 1 finger up. The countdown ends as she immediately disappears from the screen, like a ghost. You can still see her on the bed, but the live feed indicates there's no one there. When you deeply focus on the digital image, you swear you can make out some unusual glitching where her silhouette should be, but it could very well just be placebo. You ready for this? 3, 2, 1. A flash of the camera. The instant she reappears on the screen, she takes a selfie, sticking her tongue out in a provocative manner. The chat room explodes and cheers again. She is their vampire queen.
You briefly wonder about her being glued to the screen. Is this the fantasy everyone is here for? A girl showing off cheap magic tricks while lazily browsing her social media? Like, honestly, while you, like, as the player, and then, like, in your character in the game knows that she is using genuine vampiric powers in order to do this, what she's doing could very easily be done with, like, prosthetics and, like, digital effects. So I think in that way, that's why it's not technically a Masquerade breach. Like, sorry to kind of, like, break from the story for a second, but this is very, very interesting. I'm actually really enjoying this, because I love the lore and the world building of this. So this is all stuff that could realistically be done with a good enough production for, like, a live webcam stuff. Like, you've seen the stuff that you can do with, like, streaming and, like, digital effects to add, like, certain effects to streams and stuff like that, and live feeds. And, like, you can get those vampire fangs that, like, they have the mechanism in them, which allows the fangs to, like, come down and then retract back up. So yeah, honestly, like, the arm thing and, like, biting into her flesh is something that is trickier, but if you're a clever enough magician and you have good prosthetics, you can do that and make it look realistic on a live feed. Which is very, very interesting. You briefly wonder about her being glued to the screen. Is this a fantasy everyone is here for? A girl showing off cheap magic tricks while lazily browsing her social media? You realize that you're way out of your depth here. Meanwhile, Hope decides to continue her lecture. Those were some wild times, especially in New York. While most of them have no clue as to our real nature, a lot of clandestine organizations have classified us as national threats. And since this is where the towers fell, the agencies are very much present around here, looking for easy PR victories. The last SI raid was just a few years ago, and it was a big one. Stirred up the hornet's nest, something fierce. But although it's 2019, New York City is ruled by someone who got embraced before World War II, and the cams as a whole got really spooked and swore off the internet. She's a VTuber, a vampiric tuber. You know what? You're not wrong. Of course, they're not dumb and understand that you can't really coexist with modern kind without the internet. It's a grey zone right now, like piracy. Technically frowned upon, but let the one without sin cast the first stone. The SI is a real threat, no joke. But in many senses, the darkest place is right under the candle. You take another look at the screen. Bender, we want blood. How about some bat stuff? Can you do some bat stuff? Can you show us big time? It's been a long, hard day. Please give me a shout out. Fuck Stephanie. I love that they changed their username just to try and piss me off. A familiar nickname pops up. Masochist-sama. We were told that they're okay, so ignore. The guy seems to be having the time of his life. Good on you, buddy. Oh, you're just gonna let this guy shit up the chat? Come on, it's your job to react to spam. She lets out a dejected sigh and kicks the guy from the room herself. Can't imagine she's too satisfied with how he handled the situation. The show goes on. Okay. It's a bit of hit and miss, but that's okay. Oh yeah, fun fact about being a vampire. We can sweat and pee if we just exert ourselves really hard. Some of us can even orgasm. We can even cry, but only tears of blood. It's something I always dreamed of doing when I was 14. So romantic. And it drives them crazy. As proof of her words, a scarlet tear starts running down her face. The chat goes wild. This seems to be exactly the kind of thing they've been waiting for. An angel fell down from heaven. Oh my god, she did it again. Beautiful. Hope you taught yourself find some calm eventually. Can you imagine USA assembling blood-sucking squad that would just cruise out? Oh. Oh, that's some toxic shit. And banned. Just to be clear, you realize what we're doing here is a blatant breach of the Masquerade, right? Yeah, Hope! That's something I've been debating ever since we fucking started this shit. God damn it. I honestly expected you to leave or inform somebody by now, but you haven't, have you? You try to focus on the chat. A familiar nickname is displayed on the screen. Yeah. Kick. One more kick, one more familiar message. You double check. That's the same message he sent out the last time. Is he copy pasting or something? Oh god. He's just spamming shit. Looks like Mr. Masochist needs a longer break. After you ban him, you hear Hope's voice. Good job handling that guy. Great. If nothing else works out, seems like you fit this job at the very least. In any case, the last goal has just been funded. It's time for the grand finale. This is what you've all been waiting for, right? Yes, Queen. Her voice has changed. She gets closer to the camera, letting her face fill the frame of the live feed. Her mesmerizing eyes are focused purely on the viewers. You wanted blood? Come out into the streets. Claw out your neighbors' throats, slash their veins, and drink up. Yes, Queen. Hope's presence becomes absolutely horrifying, and it influences the chat in some incomprehensible way. Everyone starts typing like they're possessed. Liberate yourselves from the shackles of ordinary mortality. Make them scream. Make them feel the warmth of their entrails. Chat is just going fucking wild. What the hell is she doing to those people? What have you gotten yourself into? Transcend your bodies. Release the message of hope into the world. She jerks violently for a second, and then falls down on the bed like a marionette that had just had its strings severed. She exhales loudly a few times, and laughs. When she does, the room goes dark again. Alright, that's enough. Instead of continuing, she does something with her phone. The stream ends, and the chat instantly becomes dead quiet. Let me take over. The atmosphere in the room has completely changed. She's already put herself together and stood up. Now she's walking towards you. What the fuck just happened? Guess the show's over. Everyone relax and go home. Oh, and I was almost... God damn it. Hostages, I swear on my father's grave, one day I will find you and kick the ever-living shit out of you. After every line she delivers, she changes her voice, the way she puts her lips together, and even the way she moves. You've caught glimpses of her acting this way, but only now have you started to figure it out. Oh, she's all of those different users chatting at the same time and having all like these different conversations with herself. Okay. Wait a minute, does that mean? Wait a minute, does that mean? I'm immortal, I'm bored, I'm separated from most vampires in the city by a generational chasm. I'm so goddamn lonely. The internet used to be my only friend. Years ago, I started researching tulpas, collective unconsciousness, all the mumbo-jumbo at the intersection of psychology and spirituality, and I decided to experiment. The show was fake. No way! Was it just like all of the chat, all the users in the chat were fucking bots? And she's just doing this for herself? Okay, that is some awesome shit. Sorry, I love Vampire the Masquerade, and like these characters are so amazing. Rosen Online, thank you so much for the follow. You are now one of my lovely lost tales, and you are welcome back at the Blue Rose Respite anytime. Take a seat and enjoy yourself. Silver lining, Masquerade is still intact. Absolutely. A few years later, I was an Instagram fashionista, a successful erotic model, a vital part of pop culture commentariat, a viral shitposter, a cryptocurrency expert. All of my internet slaves started signal boosting each other, paving the way for new ones. I became a one-woman empire, surrounded by legions of psycho fans. The chat was fake. Some may think of it as dissociative identity disorder, but that's bullshit. Everyone has online alter egos they buried. I just resurrected them, gave birth to new ones, and let them crossbreed. Her constant tapping at the phone, even during the show, somehow she is capable of impersonating an entire chat room. Fuck, that's cool! Sorry, I fucking love Malkavian so much. This is awesome! But thank you for the stretch check, Clansinator. Thank you, I needed that. Sorry, I'm just like fangirling for a hot second because like, Hope is awesome, I like her. Chat, you're real, right? I don't know, let's ask Monica and Sayori to come back and let's see what they have to say. Isn't that right, chat? You're real, aren't you? I don't even have a self that could disassociate or be mentally ill. I'm a host, a living database. I live because I find it fun to be an information conduit, to process trends and support the ones I deem worthy. There was no Masquerade violation. She was showing off her skills all along. She put you into a world of pure fiction, the same way she was testing you when she attacked you from the back. Fuck yes, this is awesome! Damn, she's good at this. Oh, she is. I love her. I love Hope. Of course, you can just ignore what I'm saying and decide I'm just another deranged Malkavian. But hey, annihilation of the self is the only way to survive in the 21st century. If there ever was an era that demanded images of beautiful people transcending beyond humanity and inspiring others to do the same, it's this one. Oh. I feel a little bit called out by that. Although for now, because of Masquerade, my audience is quite limited. Speaking of, you want to be the star of my next movie? I don't want to say flat out hell no, but just kind of like a bit of a pause. Need some time to mull it over? Sure. No, sorry to disappoint. But yeah, your test is over. Now the question is, do I want to work with you? She puts away her phone for the first time since you've met her and gives you a good hard look. Guess I can give it a shot, yeah. You're not that dumb, you're not that boring, and you're kinda cute. Don't worry, no more modding jobs. Mods get attached, and that's always bad news. Grab your arm and start leading you out of her room. I've put you through enough shit. Next time, I'll let you in on a little job I'm doing. We'll hit the streets and you'll see why Sophie told you to contact me. She leads you through a labyrinth of grey corridors. It's a different route than the one you made your way through in. The city is so much more than what its elites consider real. Stick with me, and I'll guide you to places Camarilla elders couldn't reach in 100 years. She leads you out of the building into the back alleys. Even if someone else rules the streets, we will rule the information highways. This is the power of hope. She lets out a theatrical laugh and disappears. You don't even notice when she leaves you alone, but you assume everything went well as it could. A new ally. The power of hope. And she thinks we're cute! I like her so much. As you walk off into the night, everything around you feels a little less tangible than it did a few hours ago. I kind of think that maybe we should rest for the night. And then speak to someone tomorrow, because I'm worried with that, like, we won't have enough time to get shit done. But yeah, let's go back and rest, and then we'll contact one of the others the next night. You notice something strange by the front door of your haven. A letter has been slipped under your door by a letter has been slipped under the door in a cream-colored old-fashioned envelope. There's no name on it, but you know it's meant for you. Opening the letter, it's clear it's been sent by someone incredibly old-fashioned, rich, or a fan of classic stationery. No normal person sends letters like this. The note is short and terse, written in elegant, delicate handwriting. You're cordially invited to a rendezvous at the Cathedral of St. John the Divine. I'll be waiting to make your acquaintance tomorrow night. Look for me closer to God. There is no other information. It looks like you have a mysterious invitation for the following night. Thank you for the hydrate check, Samuel. But honestly, I'm thinking I might wrap things up here. Because we could keep going, but like that bit with Hope was so good and it had such like a powerful impact. I kind of wanted to just like leave it at that for tonight and then we can accept the invitation the next night. But at the same time, I know I would have forgotten about it or the request for us to come in and like see this person tomorrow night specifically. Let me just check the dictionary first. Elder. A vampire who has experienced at least 2 or more centuries of unlife. Elders are the most active participants in the jihad, the secret self-destructive war waged against the ancient undead. Elder vampires tend to manipulate their lesser kin, using them as pawns in a terrible game, the rules of which defy comprehension. The Second Inquisition, often abbreviated as SI. A collective name among vampires for recent coordinated efforts of intelligence agencies to combat the kindred as if they were a terrorist threat. Few individual agents understand that what they are fighting, and the intra-agency collaboration code-named First Light places enormous import on keeping their operations secret and disguised as ordinary anti-terrorist action. Okay. What I think I'll do is, instead of trying to get in touch with one of these new allies, like of the 4 that Sophie told us about, I might accept this invitation to speak with someone at this church, and then at the next point where we get to this screen, then we'll call it a night. Just because we're not quite at 2 hours yet, and I want to go from like just a little bit longer, and we'll see how things go. But yeah, that scene with Hope was just amazing. I loved it. Because I was gently caught up with it. I was so scared that we were breaching the fucking Masquerade. But no, it's all a Malkavian trick, and it was wonderful. God, I love Malkavians. Okay, Faith and Myth Part 1. You've received an invitation to meet a mysterious someone at the Cathedral of St. John the Divine. Okay, I'm going to do Faith and Myth Part 1 just because we had that invitation for specifically the next night, and I'm not quite sure if I will remember that this was a thing that was requested for the next night when I stream this again next week. So, let's do Faith and Myth Part 1. You haven't been in a church since you became a vampire, or kindred as the euphemism goes. You've had to focus on concrete, practical things like survival and feeding. You've learned the essentials of the vampire experience, but you don't really have a clear idea of what it all means. The Cathedral of St. John the Divine is a New York landmark. You've been inside one before when you were much younger. You marveled at its Gothic facade. Looking at it now from across the street, it feels ominous. The prospect of an anonymous invitation to a secret meeting is a worrying one, but the venue is well chosen. It's hard to imagine a violent attack in a place like this, with eyes everywhere. You enter the cathedral discreetly. You've quickly learned this is an essential skill for a vampire, how to move without anyone noticing you. The full force of the cathedral's architecture hits you as you walk between the pews. If the architect meant to create the feeling of being small in the face of God's glory, mission accomplished. Based on the note, you're assuming that whoever you're meeting is somewhere in the front. As you step closer to the high altar, it feels as if something is dragging at your feet, as if the stone beneath you resisted your movement. Does God still listen? It's been a long time since you prayed. You wonder whether God listens to creatures like you. Fatalistically, you take a step, then another. You're not sure if your God is present in this cathedral, but perhaps it doesn't matter. What you feel is real enough. There's an old man sitting at the front. You see only the back of his head, bowed down in silent prayer. Your footsteps echo on the floor and he turns to look at you. You can't take your eyes off him. He's tall, dignified, white hair balding, a few strands escaping to the sides. He's wearing glasses and simple clerical clothing. His eyes are warm and pale, too kind for someone like you. Something is wrong. You feel heavy, as if a giant hand was pressing you down. The skin on your face is burning. Perhaps unconsciously you expected something like this, as a vampire walking into a cathedral. Only it's not the building or God making you feel like you're burning alive. It's the man, the priest. Welcome, my child. The priest's tone is kind, but the rising panic inside is telling you that kindness is not for the likes of you. We've got pretty strong fortitude. We'll be fine. Whatever it is, you can tough it out with your vampiric abilities. As you step closer to the priest, panic rises inside you. The emotions are hard to control. Fear, anger, pain, all trying to wrestle you in different directions away. The resilience of your vampiric body is the only thing affording you a moment's respite, yet you know it can't take much more of this. Can I help you? Are you okay? The priest talks to you like he would a lost vagrant who has chosen to enter the house of God. He's sounding like he's unaware of what he's doing. So rather than being confrontational about it, maybe that one's the better one? Or that one. Shit. I'm worried I'm gonna screw this up. Please, it hurts. Sit down and tell me what's wrong. Taking a closer look at you, the priest realizes how much you're struggling to simply stand there. Are you one of them? It's simply too much. You mutter something incoherent in reply. You don't sound like a vampire, an undead being made powerful by immortal blood. You're just another sad, confused, lost soul. You turn around and stagger away, only feeling like yourself once you're back on the street outside. You stand on the sidewalk, confused and scared. No enemies seem to be attacking you. The priest didn't follow you. The night air is wet with the smells of the city, the same as every night. How did it feel? You look at the man speaking to you. He's well dressed, if a little archaic. Dark-haired, handsome, like a character from an old movie. He smiles as if he knows something you don't. You glance around. There are people on the street. You don't appear to be in immediate danger. Did you do this to me? No, absolutely not. Let me introduce myself. My name is Benoit Sagal. We share many things in common even if you don't know me. Benoit offers his hand to you. Being approachable, okay. Benoit's handshake is firm and dry. He looks at you intently as if trying to find something in your eyes. Would you mind sitting with me for a moment? Benoit points to a park bench nearby, in darkness because of a broken streetlight. Wary, you decide to follow him. Only an enemy totally unconcerned with the masquerade would attack you here. Benoit sits down and follows you, and you follow suit. For a moment you both contemplate the cathedral in silence. I know how it feels, what you felt. I've experienced it myself many times. For a moment you consider how to respond. It's clear Benoit sent the invitation to come here and orchestrated this little setup. What's the point? Why did you go to the trouble of getting me here? We share a connection, you and I. I'll explain it later, but right now the important thing is that it's so much easier to show than to tell. I wanted you to meet Father Anthony, or see him, experience him. Did you wonder why it felt like that? Yeah, is it a supernatural thing? Was it some kind of supernatural power?
No, not at all. I don't think so. It's his faith that makes you feel like that. He's safe in his belief while you are one of the damned. Do you ever wonder what's the role of a vampire in God's creation? You stop to think. Of course you've wondered what this is all about. Whether it's about God or nature, you don't really know what being a vampire means. That's the trouble with the Masquerade. A human faced with a human problem can go online and find something that helps. You can't. The Masquerade means that everything there is to know about your condition is secret, hidden away. You're left relying on the unreliable opinions of people like Benoit. Suddenly, Benoit takes your hand and presses it against his chest. As he stares into your eyes, you feel his heart stop. My heart no longer beats, yet I move, I talk. Is that how God intended us to be? Yeah, he's holding on to us. Let us go. Let go of my hand, you asshole. Benoit lets go of your hand and you quickly withdraw it. You're asking yourself these same questions. You know you are. Sometimes I'm skeptical too, but in Father Anthony's presence I know faith is real. I know it because it hurts so much. But perhaps you have questions about faith in our kind. Yeah, how do you know this is right? I want facts. How do you know any of these stories are true? I don't. How could I know? This is what faith is. You have to believe in something. Good and evil, right and wrong, love and hate. I believe we are damned. I also believe that there is always hope. Grace. Oh, we just met Hope, and she was wonderful. Father Anthony's faith shows me the way. It's so easy for us to lose ourselves in the morass of occult speculation. Some of our kind revere Cain, others Lilith. Many in the Camarilla place their faith in the invisible guidance of the Methuselahs who are supposed to watch over us. Yet I wonder how much that really matters when compared to the character of a good man. Yeah, this is a lot. This is a lot to take in. All these myths. Hard to know what to believe. I know it's overwhelming. It was for me when I first met Father Anthony. I know there are others like him, whose faith shines like a beacon. Priests, old ladies, children. Anyone can have that conviction inside them. Okay, we met him. We started a conversation, but we have shit we need to do. I have to go. I can't concentrate when I know the priest is still inside. Benoit nods patiently. Let's meet again in a few nights here at the cathedral. We can talk more about after you've thought it through. You leave Benoit sitting in the shadow of the cathedral, contemplating what lies within. It would be easier to ignore his words without the reality of what you experienced. Father Anthony was holy. You know it to be true. But what does that mean? Okay, yes. So, I think this is now a good point to wrap things up because we had that conversation with Benoit and we had that wonderful interaction with Hope. So, yes, I wasn't sure how long that conversation would go, but I'm happy to wrap things up here and now, if that's all right with you guys. Because, yeah, speaking to Hope was such an amazing, impactful scene, and now we have this conversation with Benoit about hope and hope and faith, but it's so fascinating because in the edition that I played, and when I was LARPing Vampire technically I was LARPing second edition, and at that time it was called Vampire the Requiem, and so as well as clans, you had additional political factions, one of which was the Lancia Sanctum. I believe that's what it was called. The Lancia Sanctum was heavily inspired, or had practices very similar to aspects of Christianity and Christian iconography. So I find this conversation that we just had with Benoit fascinating, in which I'm not sure if this is something that's now a part of the new 5th edition. In fact, that people with such strong conviction and who are so innately good actually repel vampires. That is
fucking fascinating, and that is really, really cool. I love everything about this because I haven't had the chance to read the new editions cover to cover to absorb all the new information that's come in. But actually, yes, Samuel, side note, if you have not yet watched Midnight Mass on Netflix, watch Midnight Mass on Netflix. It's so fucking good. I still need to see the last few episodes because I've been trying to savor this show like a fine wine, enjoying a little bit at a time. But yes, watch Midnight Mass if you want, again, some really interesting theological discussions about faith and the aspect of monsterism and all those kind of wonderful themes. But I think this is a great point to end it on because yes, Hope's scenes were very intense, and I just want to make sure that everyone is doing good, because I was genuinely getting nervous about, was it going to get very explicit and would I have to maybe like cut like what was being shown on screen? But thankfully it wasn't. It was done very tactfully. I loved it. It was such an emotionally intense scene, and it was so fucking good. So fucking good. But I think with that, we'll have a quick look at these little bits of new information that we have in our dictionary, and then we'll wrap things up for the night. Cain, a mythical figure considered to be the first and most powerful vampire. Some vampires refer to themselves as Cainites, members of the race of Cain. Methuselah, a vampire has existed for a millennium or more, an elder who no longer participates in kindred society. Methuselahs are rumoured to hail from the 4th and 5th generations. So yes, I'm going to head back to the menu, and with that, we will wrap things up for this evening. But thank you all so very much for joining me tonight. I had so much fun with the next chapter of this incredible game, and I hope you all did as well. If you've been lurking in the shadows and you like what you've seen so far, please consider hitting that follow. We would love to have you back at the Blue Rose Respite. You are welcome anytime. And thank you all so very much for the bits, for the gifted subscriptions, for the resubs. Thank you all so much for your amazing support. It's hugely appreciated. And a big welcome to all of our new followers this evening. We had a wonderful number of new faces among us tonight, so thank you all so much for the follows, and we hope we can see you again soon. Next Friday I will be playing another RPG Maker horror game. I will be ending this triad, as it were, of RPG Maker horror games by playing Mad Father. I've always wanted to play it. I'm very excited to play it. And of course, next Sunday, we will be continuing Vampire the Masquerade Coteries of New York, and I hope all of you can follow me for that as well. But let us just see who is live at the moment, and who I can send you to. Why don't we say hi to Mr. Creepypasta? Thank you all so much for joining me tonight. I hope you all have a fantastic week ahead. And remember, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and as always, stay wicked and wonderful. Good night, guys.